Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining this webinar on GlobalWorks Travel and our process and systems for school group travel. We appreciate you joining to take some time and learn a little bit about how GlobalWorks plans and operates and collaborates with schools, teachers, group coordinators to execute these really impactful, profound, and valuable educational opportunities for students. We have decided to put this webinar together as a way to consolidate a lot of different information. And while we're certainly representing GlobalWorks and speaking from our base of experience here at GlobalWorks, we also are going to try and create a bit of a cross-section of ways that you can learn about why we do what we do based on decades of experience working in this industry for student groups. And also the options that you have as an educator putting together these programs so that you know that you're informed enough to make the best decision for your students and move forward in collaboration in a way that's really going to suit your group the best moving forward. GlobalWorks is operating a huge number of destinations, various themes throughout all of these destinations, dozens of different program types. We're excited to tell you a little bit about those, but we also are here in a big part to let you know some about our logistics, our risk management protocols, how we help you book everything from airfare to lodging, transportation, activities, and then how we help arrange airfare, travel insurance, help you as teachers promote and enroll your group, really everything from inception of the plan all the way through to executing and returning from the trip. So let's dive right in. I'm going to take a moment to introduce who we are, GlobalWorks, and myself. I'd like to start by saying that I myself am an alumni of GlobalWorks programs. I was on a Costa Rica homestay immersion program back in 2008. I then became a GlobalWorks trip leader in Puerto Rico and elsewhere in Latin America and the domestic US, then joined the GlobalWorks home office team. And now my role is school group director here in the home office, where I help educators and group organizers design itineraries that work for their curricular focus and their learning objectives. So GlobalWorks began in 1989 as a single program, as a trip that collaborated with the local community in Puerto Rico as a response to needs in a small community from Hurricane Hugo. Since then, GlobalWorks has expanded and grown and evolved, incorporated a lot of different learning elements such as language immersion, cultural exchange, environmental and conservation service and initiatives, and many, many more things. However, I will definitely attest to the fact that at its heart, GlobalWorks has always been about service in collaboration with local communities all over the world. We're based in Louisville, Colorado, and we are B Corporation. And those of you who are familiar with that designation know that there is a long list of things that a company needs to do in order to hold the title of B Corporation. But really what that means to us is that our stakeholders are not just the students, the families, and the teachers who we partner with to create these exceptional high quality programs, but also the folks who we partner with all over the world who live in these communities in Peru, in Fiji, in France, who make these programs what they are. We really value their input. We consider them a part of our community, and they are very much a part of GlobalWorks as stakeholders. Universal learning goals are ways that we map out the aspirations and intentions of these programs. You'll find these as common threads throughout every program that we run. And these are ways for us to always make sure that we are bringing value and a consistent theme and focus to our programming. You won't find much fluff on a GlobalWorks program. They're balanced, comprehensive, full itineraries. And the intention is that when folks look back on these programs and evaluate their experience, they're able to point to learning outcomes that were really intentional and set up in these programs at every step. The people who you'll encounter on GlobalWorks programs first are going to be the GlobalWorks leaders. Now, these are folks that come from all different walks of life. They come to GlobalWorks from all over the world, or we find them in our community network from around the world. I think it's a really cool fact that so many GlobalWorks staff have been with GlobalWorks for more than 4 years. We have a knack for keeping really great people within our community. They love what they do and they love sharing what they do with groups and students. Also, a huge number of our staff come from a background in education. Many of them in their full-time life, in their jobs, are or have been educators, working in the classroom as counselors, working in outdoor education, but helping students to learn about the world, helping to develop their own competencies and skill sets. This is at the heart of where so many of these people have their professional experience. Prior to these programs, you're also going to be collaborating with the GlobalWorks home office. Now, we are really, really good at bringing personal attention to all of these programs. When you call the GlobalWorks home office, you'll be speaking with one of our small team of home office directors. You'll get to know us really quick if you call only a couple of times or email with our home office. We're a small, tight-knit, very specialized team, and a lot of personal attention goes into every single one of these programs. As Director of School Group Travel, my main job is to work with every educator and every teacher that we come into contact with to bring your program from the vision to a full itinerary that you're ready to present to your community. We also have operations directors, enrollment directors, our executive and business director teams who are going to see this trip through to fruition and support teachers, families, and students throughout every step of the process. At the heart of what we do, of course, is risk management, safety, and security for these groups. We want to make sure that not only are these programs airtight when it comes to making sure that it's a safe experience, we also want families to know that they're going to go into this without feeling anxiety, without a list of unknowns. So much of what makes these programs successful is that we have so much history of trust-based relationships with all of our communities all around the world. As you can imagine, with more than 35 years of experience, we have a ton of partnerships that have been in existence for many, many years. As a GlobalWorks director now, we're still working with some programming and some partners that I experienced during my GlobalWorks program in 2008. So I hope that speaks to the long-established relationships that exist in so many of our partnerships. Through our experience, we have really crafted a great variety of really intentional itineraries that we'd love to share with you. We do take your input and the input of your team, your faculty, your families into account when fine-tuning these itineraries, so that we make sure that we're creating a flow and a program that are going to be appropriate for your group, their age, number of folks you're traveling with, and the intentions and goals of your program. GlobalWorks does manage flights for groups, so we really are full service. We try and handle every technical aspect of your program to take that off of the shoulders of teachers, educators, and faculty. I'm going to pause for a minute and let you know a little bit about the airfare process and what your options are. So we highly, highly recommend that when a group travels to another destination, whether that's domestic or international, that they do so on a group reservation. They can do this through a group booking desk through any airline. We work with a travel agency directly, and in partnership with them, we're able to find quotes from all the airlines that operate routes that will work for your trip. So what that means is that we're able to identify the best routes and the best rates for the availability that exists for your program. If you were to call American Airlines, for example, and say that you had a group of 20 students wanting to travel to France, they would offer you their current airfare price for availability that they had, but they wouldn't offer you that same option through all the other airlines that are out there, which is why we highly recommend working with a group agency that will be able to give you a lot of competing rates. So in this way, we're able to get the best airfare available for the available routes and the dates that work for your trip. Also, another great benefit to working with a group booking desk and an agency that has these relationships with so many airlines is we're able to find contract details that work for your group. We really like that when we are able to book a flight, you can get firm airfare booked months and months in advance, sometimes up to 10 months, depending on the airline, without having to put down more than a nominal deposit of $50 or $100. That is fully refundable with most airlines until a couple of months before travel, which is an excellent way to book group travel for a group of students that haven't quite committed to the program yet. If you know that you want to bring 20 students on a trip, but you won't know if you have those final names until 3 months before travel, that won't be an impediment to your being able to book firm airfare pricing months in advance. So hopefully this has illustrated the benefits to doing group booking with airfare. You do, of course, have the ability to go to Google Flights, for example, or Expedia, the online retailers where you can get individual rates. And while some of these rates may be more competitive or cheaper than what you'll find in a group booking reservation, you aren't going to get those same benefits of being able to hold airfare for months without putting down full cost and final trip traveler names, including passport information, knowing exactly who you're traveling with. So for all these reasons, we really, really encourage folks to go with a company and go with an arrangement that's going to allow them to get a group booking. And the more that you can allow someone else to take that off your plates, the more you can focus on just making sure that your family stay informed, that you're helping to pre-educate your group, provide context, get them ready for the trip, and not have to worry about these technical details of booking airfare, and let us take that off your hands. Back to the people on your program. In addition to the GlobalWorks leaders, you are going to meet a lot of other people on the ground on your GlobalWorks trips. So many of the people who are going to be bringing this education to your students are the people who really ought to be doing so, the folks that live in these communities and who have careers and passions that are tied to the place from which they're speaking. So while our GlobalWorks leaders are amazing, knowledgeable, professional, they don't have the lifelong experience of having worked in these small communities. They don't have the same degree of relationships to some of these places where the students are going to come collaborate on service initiatives, do these environmental guided treks. But the people who we will be coming into contact with on all of these programs, they do have the expertise and they do have the life experience to bring full awareness and context to these students. These are also folks that are going to leave a lasting impression on your students. They might create a friendship while abroad. They might be inspired by the work that they're doing. And I promise that getting to learn from the people in their own environment while they're doing what it is that they are passionate about is going to create those aha moments and really create beautiful connection points for the students between perhaps the context they've been gaining in the classroom before the trip and then this hands-on experience they're getting to have while on their program. So for all these reasons, we really do have wonderful relationships with so many schools, and they choose to come back to GlobalWorks year after year. We have about 50 school groups that travel with us every year. So we are not a giant organization. We are a small and specialized team, like I said, and we work with 50 schools each year and bring a high degree of quality to each program. We have over 3/4 return rate, which means the vast majority of teachers and schools that travel with us see the value in what we're doing and feel that we're doing it really, really well relative to the options available to them. And for that reason, we have a really great return rate with our partners. Those that travel with us, whether they come back to us every year, only sometimes, or have only been able to work with us once or twice in our history, we have a really, really good quality review from so many of these teachers. They're able to give us really great input. Evaluations are like the backbone of our ability to improve ourselves. And we're proud to say that so much of the surveys and the feedback that we get are so positive. We have a lot of people to thank for that, not the least of which are these wonderful teachers that we get to travel with so many times. One of the key features of GlobalWorks is our ability to make really, really great safety plans. That means making sure that we are attending to risk management during the program, leading up to the program, before a program has even been initiated. So when we have partnerships on the ground in an ongoing way, we're making sure that these partnerships are safe, that anyone that we work with is in good standing in their industry and in their business, that they are thoroughly vetted by our directors, that they are showing up for our groups consistently, safely, and reliably, communicating well with our team, working with chaperones and students in a really meaningful and responsible way. And essentially just working with us in a way that established this long-term trust-based relationship. And that's why we continue working with the folks all over the world that we do. Our Global Works leaders take on a huge responsibility by leading these students, and they really show up to the task. They're on the ground the days before your trip starts, making sure that every location and every activity is thoroughly vetted, making sure that they have eyes on every location, making sure that they've spoken to everyone, whether they are someone that's going to be cooking food for our group, someone who is helping to prep the community development project work sites with our group, hosts of the guest houses where our groups might stay. We need to make sure that there are no surprises and that everything is up to our standards of quality for our students when they arrive. So for that reason, the Global Works leaders are there checking off their lists, making sure that everything is prepped. They also are making sure that we have up-to-date emergency action plans should something require urgent action to keep our group safe. If someone has an urgent medical need, we know where the nearest hospitals or clinics are, whether that be for a simple prescription refill that someone forgot to bring on the plane when they boarded their flight, or something more urgent. We know where to take students, how long it takes to get there, and which of the different medical facilities will be most appropriate. So you can leave that planning and care to our Global Works staff. We also have a network of medical health and medical health professionals and physicians that Global Works can call upon to give us more thorough guided information. If there's a complex situation affecting a participant on our programs, and we need to bring in a professional in the field of mental health or medicine, that we have that person who we can call on to give us real-time 24/7 information. We can set up an appointment with these people to have a thorough conversation with families, with teachers, and participants involved. We can also call on them quickly just for advice or guidance on an ongoing situation. So this is to demonstrate that we have a lot of resources at our disposal, and our team does go really deep when it comes to making sure that we have the right people in place to respond to a lot of different situations. Our staff also do all have CPR and wilderness first aid training. Now, of course, that doesn't mean they can handle every emergency that may arise on a program, but it does mean that they have a pretty great basic level of understanding of how to respond to the vast majority of situations that we see happen on our programs. On a lot of our programs, we're in hot destinations, working hard, playing hard. So things like how to stay hydrated, how not to get heat sickness, how to make sure that we're responding to digestion issues appropriately. When you travel, someone will get a tummy ache. So being able to know how to respond to things like that, cuts, scrapes, bruises, and sunburn, all things that are going to happen on programs. So our staff are able to respond to those responsibly, quickly, and without interrupting the program. We're also really good about making sure that families and chaperones are always in the loop when it comes to managing these situations, so that everyone stays informed and everyone knows that their children and their students are safe on our trips. Here's a quick overview of the places that Global Works currently travels. Now, as I said, we've grown, we've evolved, we've transitioned from place to place over time. These locations where Global Works currently travels, for the most part, we've been there for decades. Of this group, I would say the newest program is Washington, D.C. That's a relatively new one. We love our domestic programs. They lean so much more into current events. History, civil rights are things that are really prevalent on our domestic programs. But all over the world, you're still going to have really in-depth focus on the culture and the history and the personal identity and how people relate to the world around them on all of these programs. Students are really going to have a great opportunity to contrast their self-awareness and who they think of themselves being as against those of the people that they're going to come into contact with. A great example that I like to call on is Puerto Rico. Such a complex and dynamic relationship between folks in the mainland US, like most of our students, and those in Puerto Rico who are US citizens but have different rights, different political identities. What does that mean for the ability for one from the United States mainland to connect to someone in Puerto Rico? What does that relationship look like? And what is that dynamic there as they're coming into community together? So these are all things that create this beautiful backdrop of self-discovery for our students. We may be traveling to more places than this in the future, so stay tuned. Within many of these programs, you're going to have a lot of different themes available. Of course, service and adventure, always a big hit for students. These are always going to be present on our programs, sometimes in a bigger way, sometimes as a fun, rewarding, celebratory activity at the end of a program. Sometimes this is something that can be combined with something more educational, like a really cool immersive city tour where you get to go explore old Spanish fortresses in the Caribbean, or you get to explore castles in France. So there can be a lot of fun with valuable education sprinkled in as well. Conservation and ecology projects are found in many of our programs. We have amazing partnerships with longstanding organizations in many of our destinations that are doing amazing work for the benefit of the natural world and wildlife in their local habitats. Language immersion is also a really valuable opportunity students will have in many of our destinations. Peru, Spain, Ecuador, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico are all going to be places where students can immerse in Spanish. In the French-speaking world, we travel to France, where students often take advantage of this program to really immerse themselves in French. We have an amazing homestay program there in the south of France in Carcassonne, and there students will get to live with families practicing their French every day with local youth, peer students, families, and other folks in southern France. In the domestic US, we do have a couple of trips that I mentioned that focus on civil rights, US history, social justice. These are all elements that, again, we're going to have people joining the trip along the way who have personal experience and expertise in helping bring this education to students in a really meaningful, impactful, and memorable way. In Costa Rica and the Dominican Republic, we have really robust pre-med and public health programs. Students will get to engage in a combination of hands-on clinical work and getting to understand some of the administrative duties and some of the more macro level concerns that the medical system experiences in these parts of the world. The bottom picture here is of some of our students in Costa Rica, working with local community members, taking vitals, assisting physicians in real-time daily clinical tasks. So a lot of this has been from the GlobalWorks lens. There are a lot of ways that you can start planning a trip, a lot of ways that you can start introducing this trip to your students and starting to think about what is going to bring the most benefit to your community. We would love to partner with you on helping explore what the right trip might be for your group. I hope that in this webinar, you've learned a little bit about the programs and maybe are feeling excited about some destination or some theme. We'd love to start the conversation with you to talk about what might be the best fit for your group. Usually the best way to start is to receive sample quotes and proposals, and then have a conversation with us with that in hand, discussing what you feel does work for your group, what you'd like to maybe see emphasized more, changed, discuss different options, really work with us to fine tune this program to make sure that it fits your group as well as it possibly can. Once your program feels like it's in really good shape to present to your community, we're there with you, helping to support, promote the program. We can host info sessions for your group in which a GlobalWorks director will virtually present the program, answer questions, help provide a lot of the same information and insights that I shared today about what goes into the planning, what goes into the arrangement of airfare, risk management, enrolling on the trip. And then once we're there, GlobalWorks really takes over, and to as high of a degree as you like, we really can manage the enrollment, payment, airfare booking process, and all of the legwork to get this trip off the ground. If there's anything else you'd like to learn about, if you have any other questions, or if you would like this to be shared with other members of your community, you can of course share this recording, or you can get in touch with us. As I said, we are a small team. We're very responsive. We'd love to hear from you and discuss these program options with you. We are still enrolling for 2026, and we would also be happy to speak with you about options as far out as 2027 or later. If you want to reach us, you can contact our home office, or you can contact me directly. My name is Eric, and you can reach me at eric@globalworkstravel.com. Our home office email is the same, but info@globalworkstravel.com. Feel free to call or text our home office also at 303-545-2202. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to hearing about any questions that you might have. I appreciate your time. Have a good evening.